Vocab Malone again. How y'all doing? I'm here again to talk about my book, Barack Obama versus the Black Hebrew Israelites, subtitled Introduction to the History and Beliefs of One West Hebrew Israelism. Just came out fall of 2017. I've been doing these video series. I go behind the scenes to give people an idea of what was in my mind when I was writing, give people a chance to decide if they want to buy the book. You could almost use these 15 to 20 minute videos as a study guide. Each chapter, including the introduction, has like 15 or 20 minutes where I just talk about some stuff. So it's just kind of, insight, I guess you call it behind the scenes type thing. Chapter 3. What is One West? Basic beliefs. Now this chapter runs 20 pages and that's not even including the footnotes, so it's one of the longer chapters. There's a lot of beliefs and I didn't even get to it all, but this is one of the main reasons I want to write this, so you know what these folks believe, so when you encounter them, not just on the street but at your job, work, whatever, you have some understanding of who they are, what they're doing. I'm going to read a couple sections of the book, but I'm really just going to go through and give you a breakdown of the paragraphs by using the headings. This opening quote is just so golden. Let me give you the backdrop. There's a barbecue, right? ISUPK, one of the One West camps, throws this barbecue every year. This is summer, whatever, and another guy wants this kid to be able to come in, and it looks like he'd be able to come in. Then what happens? In a conversation between Captain Tazariak of the ISUPK and the 14-year-old young man, all of a sudden Tazariak no longer views this young man, even though they're just hitting it off and all that, as his brother, because he thinks he's Hamite. Tazariak thinks he is a Shemite. I then have this quote that he gives when the other man is like, come on, like what harm is he gonna do? Tazariak responds with classic Tazariak. Listen to this, quote.
Y'all can take that blackity black shit around the corner. Non-Israelites will not come to that cookout, period.
If I bring my brother, this is my little brother, if I bring my brother with me to the cookout, can he get in with me?
No.
You mean to tell me you wouldn't let this brother in the cookout, brother? Look at, come on, Tazariak. This is the poison of that book. This is what we're talking about, of the poison of that Bible, brother. But you're bringing the Mexican. The Mexican is your brother. He could be white as Snow White, and you're bringing the Mexican. But you won't bring in my little brother. He can't eat with us.
No. Because joining other nations is why we were destroyed as a people.
I want you to know that all of us don't think like that. So don't let my brother Tazar. I love my brother. This is my brother. And that's why we're trying to fix him. He's sick mentally. And we're trying to work on him. All of us don't feel like that. You know that brother can't cause you no harm. You telling me that if I was to bring him with me to the cookout, he can't come and eat with you? No. The black child, black baby, bro?
No African, no Asian, no Chinese, no white man, no German, no Russian, Caucasian, no non-Israelite will ever eat with me at anything that ISUBK is having or I'm having, period.
Why would you terrorize me for saying that someone else did that I had no control over?
Because the scriptures say prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers. So, excuse me, brother. No sweat, man, no sweat. So because of the crimes that the forefathers committed against us is why I want them white babies to die.
He's got a whole history of saying hateful, murderous, and bigoted things. I get into the endnotes. That's why you should actually look at the endnotes in this book. Let me share an endnote quote. This is actually when I called into the radio show and kind of debated the man. Here's what he said to me.
Honorable for me to want to put you in your place and make my coffee, as you said. Right. You're going to be happy to make my coffee because you're going to want to live. God wants you in chains.
And they shall take them captive.
And we're going to take y'all as captives. This is why I want white people in the kingdom. This is why I want Africans in the kingdom. Because I'm not picking no grapes. And we're going to take y'all as captives.
Shall possess them.
Possess them. Right. That is your future, Mr. White Man. That's your future. You, James White, every Christian. This is not peace. This is warfare.
It was on June 30th, 2016. It was on his own show, Israelite Vibes. This next quote was from Know the Ledge Radio. Listen to this. I love Khalid Muhammad. Like, I don't think there's a person who hated white people more than Khalid Muhammad. Like, clearly, the man has got some issues. But he just believes what One West has been teaching. And it's hate. And it's not biblical, to say the least. So let's look at these sections. One is Ezekiel 37, or Nah. And let's talk about what they believe about Ezekiel 37. I have some quotes about what they believe about Ezekiel 37, which is the awakening of the dry bones. And I show the reasons for why they think that's what's happening to them now. I'm going to skip this chart. I'm going to come back to it. Don't worry. A section called Elamites and Edomites fraternizing with other nations. In the movie Barry, Obama's roommate is, I believe, Pakistani. So he's considered an Elamite because they do a whole table of nations thing, the one Westers do. And so that's fraternizing with other nations, but Obama's a Hamite to them.
If he coming with that African mumbo jumbo,
Meaning he's not an Israelite anyway, so they don't really care because they're all Gentiles and under their misunderstanding. And then I got a section called Hamites and Cushites.
we don't deal with the Africans.
Africans are not our people.
That's why we don't like Africans.
A section called Imposters, the Ashkenazi Jews. Talk about how they use Revelation 2:9 and 3:9. A section called No Evidence. That's part of the cover-up. Talk about how they believe a lot of conspiracy theories. A section called the Lando Calrissian version of the Bible.
Works every time.
I want to read this part. This is from the script. While the man in the movie is, accosting this drunk white lady on the street, Obama stops, kind of looking around, and he asks the presenter, the Hebrew Israelite, a question. He says,
How come you're using the King James Bible?
the guy says, what? Why that edition? I thought King James was a white devil. And the guy takes a step back and he points with a stick and he says, here's King James right here. It's funny because the Hebrew Israelites that analyze this part of the video on the Barry movie, they always make a big conspiracy theory out of it. What they say is, you notice in the movie they don't really show the picture of King James that the man is showing. Meaning even though the media is including this part in Barry, they still don't want the truth, the full truth that King James was black, so they don't show his picture. That's what they say in these videos I've watched. But he says, here's King James right here. Take a good look. He looks like Billy D. Williams if you'd ask me. And then Obama says, if you say so, brother, and then walks on. The reason why I have this section called the Lando Calrissian version of the Bible is because they're saying King James looks like Billy D. Williams. Billy D. Williams in 1980 and in 1983 played Lando Calrissian in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Hello, what have we here?
So that's why I call it the Lando Calrissian version of the Bible instead of the King James version of the Bible, which I like that section. That's the second reference of Star Wars in the book. If you take note, you'll see.
I'm Lando Calrissian. I'm the administrator of this facility. And who might you be?
And then I have a section called not only King James, but King David and everyone else too. People in the Bible being black and all this type of stuff. Which there's black people in the Bible, but they try to take everyone in history and everyone in the Bible and make them black by a certain misunderstanding. I did a debate on this actually with a guy named Black Jesus Minister, who's not a one-Wester. But in the debate, I talked about this in not the first one, how these modern categories of black, white are simplistic, they're reductionistic, they're Jim Crow-esque. The reality is the ancient world didn't have these categories like black, white. Linguistics, geographical regions, ethnic, cultural, political, regional, shared history. There's all these ways that they looked at themselves together or apart. People always do that, together or apart. And certainly physical characteristics and traits will come into it. But this thing happened in the antebellum South was some of the worst stuff, man. And it's scarred folks, But what I'm saying is, man, they didn't have these, oh, Moses is black, Moses is white. No, they look like people around them. And that's not exactly black or white, And you can see their features in these ancient drawings and paintings and sculptures and even to a certain extent descriptions we have. It's just anachronistic. Look up that word. It's a good word. My friend talks about retrojecting. That's really what's going on, and it ain't no good. Then I talk about some of the Hebrew Israelite claims regarding the New Testament that they make, and I quote some raps in there from Flame, Christian hip-hop artist from St. Louis. Then I have a section, this is probably my favorite section, probably maybe of the whole book, One West Eschatology. Rolling in my chariot. I've got to read this part. Let me get a drink real quick out of my Martin Luther glass.
You're making reference to Revelation in chapter 1, verses 14 and following, the Apostle John.
Somebody's gonna say I was doing it.
His vision of Jesus.
Sonic Illuminati hand signal with that.
Characteristics represented judgment to come and other things, but it wasn't describing his race. In that case, he literally has fire in his face. So we cannot isolate verses and make them say what we want. Warnings of that are on the last page.
One West Eschatology, that means their view of the end of the world. One Westers believe when the United States of America falls, Christ will return and enslave all non-Israelite peoples. How will America fall? Nuclear winter. But how will the Israelites living in the U.S. escape? Via escape ships manned by black angels. UFOs, they call them IFOs. These spaceships will transport One Westers to Israel while the U.S. is simultaneously being destroyed by nuclear missiles. There's a lot of clips of this stuff you can see online. In fact, in the trailer of the book, I kind of mock or imitate how they talk about the nuclear missiles, because it's ridiculous the way they talk about it. I'm not saying it ain't never going to happen. I'm not saying God isn't going to judge America. I'm just saying these guys, they said Jesus was coming back in 1999, 2000.
You got the dirt or you might get burned. And when the flesh decay, you know you're done away. Yahweh Shah's judgment day. Less than 3 years left. Damn, this world unfurled. Fierce indignation, overdue compensation. Right back in manacles for malvolence and breaking up molecular structure. Yo, these evil mothers go against the laws of nature, cause it ain't natural to mix genes and diseases, killing off whom he pleases. And although it's punishment, they've exceeded the limit. Dirty thoughts, uncircumcised hearts, they played their part. You now comes our time for reversal, switch around. Trading places, theirs is up. No longer living under corrupt, filthy, despicable, detestable, degenerate powers. We keep on till the earth is ours.
They made up their own language. They make up their own history. They make up stuff. I don't think we should have to trust their versions of the future. Excuse me, it's late at night, man. I shouldn't be doing this in the middle of the night. I'm all tired and itchy and scratchy and thirsty and anyway. But here we are. I got to get these done for y'all. After these ships from Ezekiel's vision drop them, that's the Hebrew Israelites, off, they will begin their 1,000-year reign with the other nations as their slaves. At the end of the millennium, all the Edomites will be annihilated. So Edomites, so-called white people, will be slaves for thousands of years, and they'll get the worst of slavery. But at the end, they get annihilated out of existence. And then, I'm quoting again from page 51, other non-Israelite nations will live on via perpetual reincarnation as a permanent servant underclass for Israel. One Westers believe they will roll on the nations in UFO chariots as they kill other peoples, especially Esau, with laser beams which emit from their eyes and heat waves which burst forth from the chariots. So they have these visions of them being basically like X-Men, and they're part of God's judgment and execution, and it'll also be this way in the kingdom, as they say. They actually do say they're the real X-Men, so I'm not joking. Like, there's video clips where they show X-Men doing feats, and then they have biblical imagery with it. This is a real thing that they employ, the X-Men motif, actually. They will do all this before the millennial reign. It's unclear why they will need the chariots, because one Westers believe they will fly in the kingdom. Perhaps they will not be given their X-Men powers until after the millennium begins. The nations, including Esau, must survive in large part so they can go into slavery. Then, after 1,000 years of slavery, they will exterminate all white people, Edomites. Of course, one Westers believe the white man is the devil and Antichrist too. And then I specifically go into GMS and I read some of their eschatology. GMS doctrine teaches rape. Killing and torture will be acceptable in the kingdom. So GMS is a One West group and they're the worst of the worst. As long as it is an Israelite towards a non-Israelite. There are online videos where GMS members attempt to defend and explain the rape doctrine. There's literally a video called The Rape Doctrine Explained. Now, since I did an expose on this video, they took it down. So it's no longer true, but this video is up. But it was up, and I put the date I accessed the video file. Some of these have been downloaded by folks. But this was up until I did an expose, then they removed a lot of these more vile videos. I've personally been on the receiving end of the One West revenge fantasy. Here were some comments directed at me in the live video chat of a GMS Chicago on-air live stream video on September 4th, 2017. So these are comments that they were putting, GMS Chicago, against me in the comment section. Listen to what they call me. They call me missile food. Which, by the way, that's actually a common One West phrase. I think it's invented by Tahar, who's the leader of GMS. Missile food exposing themselves daily. So they're referring to me there. It's going to be hell for his in the kingdom. They're talking about me. We're going to have a party with Vocab Malone's body. Yo, that's just gross, bro. That's just gross, man. Why y'all gotta say stuff like that? Nah, Apostle Tahar gets Vocab Malone. Bro, they got dibs on me. Like, this is like postcard lynching mentality right here. I'll be happy to get his bones, LOL. What are they gonna do, bro, with me? Like, this is Roman Catholic Church on steroids, you know, digging people up and... Yo, for real, I got this stuff screenshotted, but it's in the book. These quotes. This is why you gotta get a book like this, man. I can't read the rest of the section on eschatology, but it's classic nonetheless. And Abu supplied some of the details in that with a story. But let me close with this real quick. Little chart right here. Top 10 key beliefs of One West Hebrew Israelism. Y'all ready? One West Hebrew Israelites believe that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans living in the Western Hemisphere whose ancestors were oppressed are the true descendants of biblical Israel. Now, sometimes I used to say the transatlantic slave trade, but They have other ways around it, and so I just put whose ancestors were oppressed. Because, like, sometimes they'll say, well, Native Americans didn't come on slave ships, and Hispanics didn't. It's, like, kind of nebulous. They mainly apply that to Judah and Benjamin, they think, and I guess Levi. But nonetheless, that's a key belief there, that uniting factor, that equivalency thesis. 2. One West Hebrew Israelites believe the modern-day Jews are fake imposters and not truly descendants of Jacob. 3. One West Hebrew Israelites usually hold the King James Version as authoritative. Very few One Westers are Tanakh only, but almost all believe the Apocrypha is canonical. 4. One West Hebrew Israelites believe the U.S. and all its allies will soon be judged because the Edomites, white people, rule the earth, and Esau, white people, marks the end of the time of the Gentiles. I believe that's all proven biblically. 5. One West Hebrew Israelites believe salvation is procured by law-keeping, Sabbath observance, dietary restrictions, and a certain outward appearance. Beards and fringes, for example, are marks of a spiritual understanding and holiness. Some of them will debate that, but that is basically what they believe. Some are more explicit than the others. Like one guy will say, you must be circumcised to enter the kingdom of heaven. No questions asked. Next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One West Hebrew Israelites believe Jesus Christ is the black man with, quote, Negroid features. Now, that's what they say to me, the way they want to try to get me specific, because I'll say he wasn't white, he was dark, and they'll say, well, did he have Negroid features? Like, that's what they say to me. This is how these dudes talk. They might say, we don't understand that vocab. Malone's making that up. He's being racist. No, like Neo, for example, the way he wanted to expressly say it to me, that dude from SOT, and there's other ones as well. Next one. Almost all One West Hebrew Israelites believe people of other nations, Europeans, Arabs, Asians, and Indians, when I say Indians, I mean East Indians, cannot be saved. Gentiles are destined for either death or eternal servitude via reincarnation to Israelites in the kingdom. A small minority believes non-Hebrew Israelites can be grafted into the kingdom if they submit to a Hebrew Israelite and keep the law. GOCC and a camp called BOCC, they're a smaller camp, but they come out of One West. They believe some of the other nations can be kind of grafted in like a more friendly kind of servant relationship, but it's a friendly superior kingdom to lesser kingdom relationship. One West Hebrew Israelites believe both heaven and hell are merely states of minds or conditions. Neither are metaphysical realities as they are in Orthodox Christianity. Myself and Jesus the Word did a whole video on that. One West Hebrew Israelites teach that Yahweh's name is either Yahuwah or Ahaya, and that Yeshua's name is either Yahawashai or Yeshaya. GOCC is the only one who believes the latter one, but I had included since they are a One West group and they employ a misunderstanding of Lashon Kodash, which of course is itself a misunderstanding to get these weird names. One West Hebrew Israelites believe their duty is to gather scattered Israelites who are still Jakes. Those are those who do not yet know their alleged truth of their ancestry and heritage. Top 10 beliefs. With that, we got to close out this chapter. Join me next time when I get to the next chapter called Deuteronomy 28 and Kendrick Lamar in my book, Barack Obama vs. Black Hebrew Israelites. Hey, subscribe to my videos. They're usually a little more epic than this, but I did want to do this kind of study guide. And also let me know what you think of these study guides, things I could change or that you find helpful. With that, I'm signing off. Shalom.
If I see a homeless non-Israelite person, right, knowing that their forefathers or their ancestors destroyed my people, I like that they're in that condition, me personally. When I see a homeless white man, I like that. You understand? If I see a homeless African, I like that because their ancestors tormented my people.